Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you're having a great week, and today we're going to be talking about a couple of things that can affect your paintings, and it's all regarding paper. I know that is just such a fun topic that's so interesting, and if you don't want to watch it, I understand, but I'm hoping that this video can help some people. Now, I wanted to go over some vocabulary terms really quick because I know that not everyone is acquainted with GSM and poundage when it comes to paper, so I just wanted to go over that. GSM refers to the thickness of paper. The higher the number, the thicker it's going to be. Pounds, the LBS symbol in paper, actually refers to how heavy 500 sheets of that paper is before they get cut down to any paper size. The standard is about 90 pounds for sketchbook paper, 140 pounds for wet media paper, and if you want to get really thick, it's 300 pounds. The paper I'm using in this portion of the video, the little speed paint over here, is 640 GSM, meaning it is thick, and 300 pounds, meaning it's heavy. GSM and paper weight pounds do correspond with each other, so 90-pound paper tends to be about 150 GSM, 140-pound paper is normally 300 GSM, and 300-pound paper is normally 640 GSM. With all of those numbers and all that information, basically what you need to know is the higher the number, whether that's pounds or GSM, the thicker the paper is likely to be. Another thing that can affect how your painting looks on paper is what the paper is made out of. Later in the video, I'm going to be comparing 4 different types of paper that I've used and the way that those have turned out with my paintings. Those papers include Canson XL, Canson Heritage, Canson Aquarelle, and the collection series by Hahnemule. Let's cover what each of those papers is actually made of, starting with Canson XL cold press paper. I looked it up, I could not find what it was made of, and it actually doesn't say any percentage of anything on the front cover of Canson XL watercolor paper. As for Canson Aquarelle paper, it's made from 60% cotton and the other 40% is either hemp, flax, or wood fibers. Canson Heritage paper is 100% cotton, and Hahnemule, the collection paper, is also 100% cotton. In my experience, paper that has a higher cotton percentage tends to be a little more pricey, including like GSM and poundage. If it has a higher GSM and a higher pound for the weight, it's going to be more expensive as well. Now I'm going to let you have a little break from me talking, and in the next section I'm going to be showing you different paintings that I made with different papers and comparing them, so I will see you in a minute or so. And we're back from our break. This is 140-pound paper. It's a little bit thicker than just normal copy paper. It does still warp quite a bit whenever you're working with wet medias though. So 140-pound paper is what you find in most watercolor-based sketchbooks. The next step up from that I know is 300-pound paper, which is this big thicky boy. It's almost like cardstock, maybe even a little bit thicker than cardstock. It doesn't really like warp that much. It has a little bit of a bend. I know whenever I was painting this one, it warped a little bit upwards, and then it laid back down as it dried because it has a better shape. It's more thick, so it holds its shape a little bit better. I made 2 different paintings side by side. I didn't record it because I was wanting to do them for myself, but I also wanted to just test out papers and paper qualities. I made both of these paintings at the same time. There are subtle differences between them. First off, each painting is going to have its own differences, even if I tried to make them identical, just because of the way the world works. But second off, I use different papers. The painting on the left, I use Hahnemule 140-pound paper, and the painting on the right is done on Canson XL 140-pound paper. Both of them are supposedly cold pressed, meaning that they have a little bit of texture. For this Hahnemule paper, you can see that there is texture to it. If we turn it around, we can still see the texture. It does warp a little bit, but I really like this paper. I think that it leaves like a really good blending area. This is the Canson XL paper, and I had some pretty big issues and problems with this one. For starters, you can see that the corners are really nice and crisp with the tape that I used. None of them ripped up the paper. I used the exact same tape for this, and if you can see, it ripped up the paper so that now it's textured on all of the little white areas. If we look at just the colors and paintings themselves, this one is a little bit more saturated. This one is a little bit more washed out. This had almost the texture of like painting on toilet paper or tissue, where it kind of sucks all the vibrancy out of your paint. It was also really hard to blend lines away if you ever got like a little streak. So for this one, you can see that there are like 4 different streaks of orange that I could not blend out. Whereas this one, there's like a little hint of it, but it was much easier to blend out. I think it blended a lot smoother, and of course it was a lot more vibrant than this one for some reason. I don't want to write off all Canson paper in general, because this is also Canson paper, Lukrembo Canson Heritage, but it is 640 GSM, really, and 300 pounds. So I thought that this worked really well. None of my tape ripped for one of the other paintings I'm going to show you, and it absorbed things really nicely, and I liked how it worked. For the second set of paintings, I used the Canson Heritage Lukrembo 640 GSM 300-pound paper. That means this is another thicky boy. For this one, this was just Canson XL like watercolor paper. Again, my tape ripped up the sides. I don't know why, because it didn't rip the paper over here. Here's some things I want to point out. This one has a much smoother blend and a smoother gradient. This one is a lot streakier. The colors over here are a lot more vibrant, I feel like, especially with the red, but I think that's just because this one was blended more. I feel like it's hard to see on the camera, but in person you can really tell. One of these has the paint where it almost looks like it's sitting on top of the paper, which would be the Canson XL watercolor paper, and one of them looks like it was really integrated in the paper but still holds its color, and that is the Canson Heritage one. If I had to pick a winner of these, I like this one better because it blends easier, it's not as warped, and it's just sturdier overall, and it looks more professional because it's not sitting on top of the paper with the paint. This one also rips, is streaky. I like this little red bit down here, but I can't look over everything else just because I like the red. Now, if I had to pick between the Canson XL watercolor cold press paper or the Canson Heritage 140 paper, I would go with the Canson XL watercolor cold press paper. That's this one, because although it did rip up some, it wasn't on every single edge, and it wasn't like the same kind of ripping. This was just some tearing up on the sides where it lifted. This was tearing texture into all 4 corners. These are just a few other examples of things that I've done recently with the Canson XL watercolor paper. But that is my little spiel. I've made a lot of these little silhouette paintings recently, and I wanted to talk about them and show them and talk about the differences between papers and the different things I've been trying. I hope that you liked this video. I hope that you found it helpful, and let me know if you guys want a silhouette painting tutorial video.